Live across the nation, this is Real Estate Talk. Here's your host, Willie Lambright.
Welcome back, and thank you so much for joining us. Before I get started, I want to say hello to all of Dallas and Fort Worth. We're live around the country. Thank you so much over at KVCE, DFW's Business Authority, for having us. In this next hour, let me just kind of get your curiosity going. Have you ever wondered why you did all the right things in pricing your home, but the thing is just not selling? Well, I'll tell you, it may not have the right look to it. For this next hour, we're going to be visiting with my friends over at Model My Home. Jana is live in studio, and we're going to give you some of the tips on how to make sure you get the most bang for your buck when selling your home. Also, in my studio is my old partner, Mike Everett. I'll tell you, he's with the Michael Reese Home Selling Team, and these guys have taken home selling, risen the bar like you read about. We're going to be visiting with him. So really, over the next hour, if you're in the process of selling your home or thinking about selling your home, I want you to really get the old antennas going, because we're going to give you some tips that the light may come on and you go, may need to get me a new realtor, or may need to do this, may need to do that. 1% of the agents do 99% of the business. You can always go to willielambright.com and click on the 1%er tab if the one you're using is just not quite getting it done. Jana, welcome.
Well, thank you. We're so glad to be here.
Yeah. You guys are, I know that back in Texas, you guys are a very, very successful home modeling company. You know, the average home staging company, modeling company, Willie, what are you thinking about? A staging company, they stage about 30 homes a year. Now, that would be a really good staging company. You guys do about 10 times, 15 times that.
Well, we have a great company. You know, I started the business back in 2010, and my best friend and my SUV and I, we just went out and we just helped as many people as we could. And, we fast forward 10 years later, and we have 12 stagers on our team. We staged nearly 400 homes last year alone. So if you're a real estate agent, it's almost like you having that amount of listings per year, because it's not only just a job to us. We want to see it to fruition. We want to see it to the sale. We help market that home just like an agent would, and we really take on that listing to the end.
There's a thing, and I want to make sure I say this over this hour, because we're going to be here every Friday from 9 to 9:30 with my two friends here. But one thing that I want to start getting our communities around the country familiar with is a thing called Free Ready, Set, Sell List. And talk about that for just a minute. Then we're going to go back to some tips on, how, a lot of it's common sense, man. I'll tell you don't want to leave dirty dishes out on the counter. We're going to tell you about that. But talk about this and how they take advantage of free, ready, set, sell list.
Well, we were as we were coming into homes and people were wanting our advice, what they need to do to prepare their home to sell, we were finding we were having to repeat ourselves a lot. Same problems, different home. And so what we did was we put a list together, just a general checklist of what every home going on the market needs to do to prepare to sell. Everything from cleaning, decluttering, making sure your home is updated in certain areas. So it's a very practical, bullet-pointed list that they can get on our website at modelmyhome.com. Go there, click on it. It's free. It's valuable information.
No question. If you're thinking about selling your home, not only do you surround yourself with a 1%, or 1% of the agents do 99% of the business, but you want to make sure you get the team assembled. And I'll tell you, friend, the important part of the team is staging your home correctly. I've been trying to tell Sean Bone this for, since Jesus came, but, his, all that Velvet Elvis print he has and all that stuff just doesn't fly. I know you want to say something, but just don't say anything right now, okay? Really what you want to do is get with Model My Home and get it professionally staged. Now, let's go back up and talk about some tips that someone can have when selling their home that they may not know that they're violating right now.
Yes. Well, let's just take the kitchen. Let's pick one room, for example, and talk about just a kitchen and what a buyer is wanting to see. When they walk into your home, of course, we have curb appeal. Of course, we have that first impression in the first few seconds that we have to grab them at the front door. And then when they walk into the kitchen, they want to see the gourmet, their dream kitchen. They don't want to see bills on the countertop. And plus, that could be a security issue. You don't want to leave your bills. Just as you're living, you don't list the same way. So you need to clear out a drawer in your cabinets and have a place that you can place a catch-all drawer for those personal items, that they're not all over your counters. And really, it takes going through all of your cabinets, clearing out the clutter so you have room for the things that are actually on the counter. You want to maybe only show one or two appliances out. I know you've walked into some people's homes and they have 10 appliances all over their counters.
When I went into Sean, he had a pomegranate split wide open and there's seeds all over the place, that kind of deal. It's really common sense.
It is common sense.
Yeah, and so you say don't put any more than 2 appliances out. Clean the cabinets up nice.
Yes.
No fresh fruit out because you don't want...
Actually, that is, we don't want food out. We were in a home yesterday staging it, and they had, all of their breads out, all of their extra snacks out on the counters, and you don't want to see that. You don't want to see personal food out. Maybe just a little bit of fruit if it's going to be ripe and stay fresh. But as we know, that's only going to be a couple of days. So you want to put all of the food in the cabinets in your in the pantry, so it's not out. They don't want to see the personal trash cans.
Sean, you hear that? You need to make sure you put your little Debbies up and your silver wrappers and all that stuff. Take that off the cabinet when they're coming to look at your home.
My moon pies.
Your moon pies. Okay. There's a few other tips you give here that I want to go through, and it's very, very important. Here's a common sense tip. Do not put your trash can out where everybody can see it.
How many times have you walked in and you see the big silver bullet right there staring in the face?
Yeah, the silver bullet on a Friday, Sean. Don't say another word, okay? Cookbooks, plates, that kind of stuff.
Well, those are great little things. Once you have to tear down before you can build up. So you go ahead, you declutter, you take your personal items out of the mix, you remove the food, the snacks that are just laying out on the counter, the cereal boxes above the refrigerator, all the magnets that you have in your to-do list, those need to be hidden.
Your buffalo heads, magnets you put on your refrigerator, that kind of stuff.
So you get down to bare minimum, and then you build up. You build up, you open a cookbook, and maybe you have a plate stand, and you do a nice plate in the corner, because what we want them to see is maximum counter space. So just a few decorative items to let their eye go to one side of the cabinets all the way to the other side so they can see the maximum counter space, and maybe just a few things above the cabinets as well, not your collection of cookie jars, just a few
little
things.
waddling ducks and that kind of stuff.
Right. A few things, their eye will go up. They'll notice the size of those cabinets. They'll notice the heights of the ceilings. Those are great things.
I'll tell you, if you like what Jana's saying, I want you to go out to modelmyhome.com and get the free Ready, Set, Sell list, and I will tell you some of the breakdown of what you need to know. And if you're not, if that doesn't fit your ticket, Jana, how do they reach out to you guys?
Well, you can reach us on the phone at 469-441-1549 or at modelmyhome.com.
Good stuff today, and I'll tell you, if you don't think that staging your home is an important trait of moving that home quickly, Mike, having that property sit out there and not move quickly could cost you a lot of money down the line.
It can cost you thousands of dollars, and the thing that's so important is that in this marketplace that we're in right now, you've got to come up with a strategy to be competitive. And that's what Jana does. She puts into place a competitive strategy for your home so that when people walk into it, they've got, they're able to visualize what that home's going to look like for them, and you've only got that one chance. You've just got that one chance. You shouldn't really mess around with it. And I can tell you, when we go out with buyers, so many times we walk into homes, and it's the odors, it's the clutter, it's the trash, it's the, I'll call it pet debris.
You got to pay attention to detail. There's no question, and that's what we want to teach folks on this program. ModelMyHome.com is a fantastic company, and I'll tell you, I highly encourage you agents, my community, when you're selling your home, to reach out and get the ear of my friend Jana over at Model My Homes. You can reach her at 469-441. 1549, again, 469-441-1549, or go out to modelmyhome.com. They got a fantastic website. Truth be known, Mike, I'll tell you, sitting and watching your property not sell, costing you thousands of dollars, the call doesn't cost anything over to Model My Homes.
No. Call doesn't cost a thing.
Not calling is going to have your home sitting out there till Jesus comes, and sometimes, look at Sean Bone. That's what he does. Unbelievable.
I don't know. If I saw Little Debbie's out on the counter, I might be inclined to buy the home, but that's just me.
Well, what about this? What is it? The Snow Peak? What's the pink thing? It's got the coconut on the outside. I can't have those out either.
Snowballs?
Yes. I can't have my snowballs.
No
Come
snowballs.
on.
Yeah. You're listening. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, you may have snowballs out, but what you can't have is too much time elapsing, because the price that you're going to get for your home is elastic to the amount of time it stays on the market. And again, Jana helps accelerate that sales process for you. So it really matters when you want to create a differentiating, competitive strategy for marketing your home, to put it in the hands of a professional that can go in and can tailor the inside of your home to the eye of the buyer when they come in, so that they're able to get that emotional connection they need to have to make a decision to buy.
No question. I can't tell you how important that is. I've been on the mic for over a year now trying to educate my communities about the importance of details, man. Details in selling a home. And guess what happens? You get Mike and Jana on your team, you're going to be upwards of 18% higher than your sales price in some cases, and moving that thing very quickly, as opposed to getting that agent that sold a home last April and is thinking about selling one now. 1% of the agents do 99% of the business around the country. We've got to have really good representation, as real estate is the backbone to correcting our economy. Now, I'm getting ready to come to break, and I'll say it like this. You drank the Kool-Aid on staging your home, but you have a friend of a friend of a friend that is a stager, and you don't know whether or not to listen to them. Up next, we're going to be visiting with Jana and give you some tips on how to interview a stager properly. So, friend, stay tuned. Do not touch that dial. I don't want you to do that now. We're going to be back in the Wile E. Coyote. Ought to catch the Roadrunner someday, Willie Scotia.